Superhero games have come a long way. We used to be hyped just to swing through New York, even if our webs latched onto clouds and the camera spun like it was possessed by a demon on rollerblades. But now, you could body slam thugs as Batman, parkour off rooftops as Spider Man, or if you're feeling self destructive, you can play Suicide Squad where everybody has guns and fun goes to die. We've played the games that made us feel like gods, and the ones that made us question if the devs were really actively trolling us. Like Iron Man shouldn't fly like a forklift with a head cold, right? Anyways, grab your cape, your controller, and maybe a stiff drink, because we're diving onto the iconic, the idiotic, and the absolute unplayable. Welcome to Geeks from the Multiverse.
We're geeks from the multiverse. We've come to unite all geeks. Now it's time to get geeky and dive right in, 'cause we're geeks from the multiverse.
Hey, welcome to a new episode of Geeks from the Multiverse. I am one of your hosts, Grumpy Beard. With me, as always, Captain Lestache.
What's up, y'all? Yeah, and today, as Matt decided to introduce, of course. So, yes, we're going to be talking about good old superhero video games and some of the best, some of the worst, some of the in-between ones, because I can tell you straight up, man, you and I, for so long, since we've known each other, we played a couple of, I know we've played a lot of these games, and I also know that we did play one together, and we both said, why is the question.
Yeah.
It was just why, and that's the thing about some of these games, because
It didn't start out bad, though. I mean, it just...
no, I mean, it was great in the beginning, but then like the longer it was made, it turned into shit. It was like a pile of crap, especially like the longer like the DLCs came out and all this other crap came out. It just didn't really vibe the way it should have been.
Yeah, it just...
You know,
It's like they initially made the game, and then it's like one of those books, like you buy a book and then you read it and then it sits on a shelf. And then later on you go, oh yeah, we had shit for this game. Let's just throw it in. And then they throw it in and then they're like, no, put that shit back on the shelf. Like, no, just back on the shelf. And then they go, but I wrote this character. Well, throw him in, but then put it back right back on the shelf. But put it right back. And then they go, but I wrote another character. No, fuck that. It goes on the shelf. But no, on the fucking shelf.
did you hear me the fucking first time? Throw it on the shelf, and you're like, wait, what? Whoa, buddy! I'm like, calm down.
Instead of like actually making a game where it had a lot of potential, no, they just fuck it. We're just not doing anything with it. No. And then you have other games that are just, they're mind blowing. They're actually like, they set a gold standard. You could call them almost like superhero simulators because of how good they are. And it's just amazing. But I do want to say one thing, because a lot of these games, and it's not even superhero games in general, but there are certain mechanics in video games that just puzzle the shit out of me. And one of them, it does come from the Batman Arkham series, but it is like some of these game mechanics where, in this series, and you've played these.
Oh, I played them all.
You have, as Batman, explosive gel.
Yes, and then of course he basically makes the whole batarang
Right.
basically.
You make a hole in a wall, you can go through said hole, and you basically can get to the other side or whatever you need to do. You can blow a hole through a freaking wall, a brick wall, but in order to get to another side of a chain link fence where the Riddler trophy, you can see the Riddler trophy on the other side of said fence, chain link. You have batarangs, you have explosive gel. No, you can't break through that fence because it's indestructible. Can't do it. You can't do it. You're Batman, but you can't break through a fucking fence.
Bro, it's like GTA mechanics. You know what I mean? You know what I'm talking about? Because then you're like, wait, what? How did this tree? How does this still stand? Well, it's the most indestructible tree on the planet. And I'm like, how does that make sense in a game, especially like you're just talking about? Like, how are you able to do all this other shit? And you can't get through a goddamn fence that is literally, it shouldn't even be that hard. No, and I agree with you. And I'm, I can't even speak tonight. I'm sorry. This game, or at least these series of games, it's like this has actually became kind of the forefront, or really the pioneering effect, where these games have really, basically, at least for the style of games, has actually been the forefront, or really, like I said, the pioneering of where a lot of the games are now. Like especially the newer Spider-Man games, a lot of the inspiration in some ways came from at least some of the mechanics from
Right.
this. And some of the other games I was also thinking of, actually, I'm surprised we have it on this list. Is kind of like it was like Ultimate Alliance. Like a lot
I
of
meant to
times.
add it on the list, and I just
No, it's okay. That's okay. But like,
Ultimate Alliance definitely deserves to be on the list. But yes.
of course. And so like we'll kind of dive in some more here in a minute. But looking at those kinds of games, looking some other games that you're like, okay, yep, they're good, but maybe they're not as quite as there. And then like again, looking at some shitty ass games that you're just like, why did they make the damn game to begin with? And like I
Oh
said,
yeah,
we'll
there's
get to
some
that
terrible,
later.
terrible ones, but yeah, I think you're looking at some of these games, and it's just Ultimate Alliance is one of those ones I loved playing.
Oh,
The
absolutely.
Batman Arkham series I loved playing, and
Even the newer Spider-Man, honestly,
um,
like that was
the original Spider-Man when it came out for PS4 was great. I think when Miles Morales, and I haven't played Spider-Man 2, but I think Miles Morales was good. I wouldn't say it's great, but I think it became a little bit more cinematic than Spider-Man was, and Spider-Man 2. I think they put too much like cinematics in them.
I mean, so I did play the second Spider-Man game that came out. Yes, like I said, I do see the the cinematics piece to it, but honestly though, and I know you didn't really play a whole lot of kind of like that God of War in a sense. I mean, it was kind of that in a similar sense where you'd play for a little bit, and then of course, like if you're at a certain cutscene, like it just kind of like I'll admit this, even though there is cinematics in that sense, it was kind of fluid, the same as God of War. It was like it just kind of like like you were doing something, and it would just you would be fluid enough to go and do whatever that is. So it's not like you're stopping and then like you see a black screen for a second, and then you're like, oh hey, look, we're gonna go move into a movie.
No, but
but-
I liked when, and I'll we're kind of jumping the gun into right into Spider-Man
know,
here,
I
but what I liked about Spider-Man 2 is Spider-Man 1 was not the same, because
True.
Spider-Man 2 was the first open world Spider-Man experience, and it was really the first time that you had the opportunity to really become Spider-Man. You got a chance to web swing. It was physics based. Like your webs actually attached to buildings and not random clouds in the sky. Like
Hold on, just so we're clear, we're talking about the
2004.
Okay, not right, not
Not the new one, the 2004. This one was PlayStation 2, Xbox, GameCube. It was on PC. But
I think I remember playing it honestly on the PlayStation more than anything,
Yeah.
but that's just me.
but yes, this one was 2004. It was based on the movie with Tobey Maguire.
Oh yeah,
Um,
I remember.
But yes, this was the first open world, and it was really the first like real web swinging physics based, where you actually could, when you were web swinging, you could do your flips and you could do your swinging, you could jump off the building, and your actual webs attached to the buildings. I mean, one of the always things that I thought was like, how do they, remove these webs from the buildings? That was always my thought.
Oh yeah, like how do you clean up
that-
after this shit?
That must be a fucking nightmare. But anyways, but yeah, they weren't attached to clouds. You could free roam New York City. There was random crimes. You could deliver fucking pizza in the game. Like it was just hours of stuff that you could do, and it wasn't like there were cinematics in there, but like there was enemies that were villains that were in the game that weren't in the movie, which was really really cool. But it was just like such a full game, and the voice acting was done by Tobey Maguire, Alfred Molina, and others that were directly from the film.
Right.
Um,
So, I mean, I guess, before we really kind of dive in some more real quick, Matt and I actually haven't really talked about this a whole lot, but so yes, we've talked about in the past about like, our social media presence and stuff like that. We're actually trying to do more, um, basically being guests and like having more people on here because, we were actually just guests on No Filter Friday. We just met. I actually just met the guy. Him and I were talking for a little bit too, and of course Matt, met him as well. His name's John Nuppick. So a little shout out to you, buddy. If you hear this episode, but
we're missing you, John. Come
we
on,
do.
buddy.
I mean, I do honestly, man. I love the episode. I really like the ranting, and I know it's it's a little different than what we normally do, and we're hoping that we can get you on here as well, at some point. And yeah, and so we're trying to get more people to come on the show, some different things. I know that, yes, I know actually now I'm thinking about one. There is someone that I've been wanting to get on the show for a long time now, man. I'll talk to you later about it, but yes, I'm trying to get this guy at some point, but again, it depends on how we're going to get him into the, the podcast itself. But anyways, so again, I'm going to throw it out there. We haven't mentioned this in a little bit. We got a little fist bump, so we got your little follow, interact, subscribe, tell your friends. Yeah, that's right. You got it. You got your damn fist bump. He's like, yeah, buddy, you look at you. You finally got it right. No, I'm just joking. Yeah, I've been doing it at least right for a little while now. So, we're doing that. Again, we're on YouTube. We're on all the great social media platforms. We're trying to get bigger out there. We're trying to do our damn best here. All right. And I know,
I mean, we're cutting a lot of like little short clips. So if you see them, check them out, share them out. They're usually about 1 to 2 minutes, sometimes less than that. So,
well, and honestly, man, I mean, Matt's been doing a lot with at least the video side of things and like kind of making some different graphics and, doing all kinds of sorts of shit. So that's why I give him credit and give him praise for that. Now I've been trying to do more of the like coordinating of hopefully people and trying to get people on the show and, and try to figure out what, would make the most sense.
Yeah. I mean, if you say podcasting's easy,
it's fucking not even close.
It's not. I mean, I think I work more on the podcast than I do at my job.
I mean, well, yeah, no, you're right. You would particularly, yes.
I think this podcast probably would be 3 jobs if I had to. If you had to tell me like how many jobs
look, I will say
how
this.
How many hours I spend is probably about 3 jobs worth.
So I would say this, so if Matt and I could literally, if we could get, if let's say even right now, if like both of us could get $100,000 each per year to do this, hell fucking yeah, no offense. I just started my new job. I'm not going to try to say that, but yeah, of course you take an opportunity like this because who wouldn't want to do this full time? And, if that's your passion, but like I said, I'm working at a good place now. It's a good time. I'll mention it later, but
I would 100% quit my job if I could do this full time.
Oh, dude, I know you would. Like already know 110% you'd be like, all right, I'm done. Let's go. Let's just go. Let's go get a place. Let's go.
I mean, I'm not going to go into it, but I probably am looking for another job anyway.
Oh, well, already then. So that's going to be another conversation for later.
The way that our department is doing things right now, I probably already should be looking for another one anyways. But anyways,
well, then I guess that's
we should
something
go back into it.
Yes, we're going to go right into it.
But yeah, Spider-Man 2, 2004.
Well, no, I mean, hold on. We got to go back to what we were originally talking about.
We were talking about Spider-Man 2 from 2004. That's what we were talking about.
I'm talking about if we were going back in order, because if we were going back.
We were talking about Spider-Man 2. So I want to finish this one, and then we can go back to Batman, because that one was the first game.
Fine.
But
go for it.
Spider-Man 2 was really, for me, it was really the very first time you could really play a game as Spider-Man. It was really like you wanted to play a Spider-Man simulator and be Spider-Man. This was the game. You could walk around New York. You could web swing around New York. You could pretty much do whatever you wanted to. Even if you didn't want to play the story, you could do whatever you wanted. And that was cool.
Right.
I mean, you could just web swing for hours if you just wanted to web swing and do tricks.
Again, and that's why I'm saying it's like your own version of GTA without having to play, to do all that stuff. But like, yeah, I mean, it's a different concept, and especially now if you think about it, it's 21 years ago that game came out.
Yeah,
and you're like, damn, 21 years ago. You're like, yeah, no shit, and looking at said game. I mean, I do remember playing that game. I remember playing it, as a kid, and I remember playing it for hours as well. And I remember, like you're saying, the nostalgia piece. Being able to play as him, and then you watch the movie, and then you can just jump into the game
Yeah.
and like kind of get that same effect to it. And like, yeah, they might have some clips of the movie like kind of tied into the game and like do that, but
But it was also the other, you had other villains, you had other parts of the story that was different. So it was like, oh
well,
my
like
gosh, like this villain's in there. Oh my gosh, they included that
yeah.
villain. Like,
So like if you think about it, I mean, they didn't. It's like Mysterio or Shocker or some of the other ones that I know you wouldn't have seen in the movie.
right.
Yeah, they were trying to put it in there to be like, oh hey, if we could have added it in the movie, we would have. But here's what we would do in
Yeah,
this.
it was a really, really cool game. And then, obviously Spider-Man for the PS4 came out, and then it was like the web swinging was much better. There was more cinematic stuff in it. Not as much as obviously Miles Morales and Spider-Man 2, but like that web swinging just became better.
Well, it became more defined, I should say. Because like if it's funny what I found interesting about this. So like you look at the PS4 version of the game when it first came out, like you saw, and it's kind of weird. You don't notice it until they remastered it, but like you look at the beginning and look at his head, like the original Peter Parker, he's total. And then when they remastered it, they like revamped his whole entire face,
Yeah.
and like
What I liked are the
it was weird
different.
though.
I loved the different suits. I think that was like the best part of the game was like all the different types of suits and what they did and the different,
Well,
the
yeah, being
different
able to
like
do different things.
abilities and things that it added to your character. That
Well,
was
that was, I mean, no, it was cool because you get to collect all these suits. You get to wear like the noir, like the black noir suit, or like the what was it, the 2099 suit or something like that. Like all the different ones that they've had in the past, and
the black,
you know,
the Black Venom suit, and you had, but that was what was cool about that game was you had all these like different suits, and I did play Miles Morales, and it was
yeah, and they had that similar thing. They could definitely do that.
and I did like the story. Obviously, I didn't play Spider-Man 2, but these are just really, really great games.
No, and like I said, I have played them all. I've dealt with all of them so far, and I personally Spider-Man as a whole, at least for the Marvel side of things, like when you look at like Batman Arkham Knight and like back the Asylum in City and all that stuff, like you look at it and you appreciate how DC did that realm of gaming in that sense because it was dark and it was this, but you got to see the Joker as a different kind of it you saw Penguin and you saw all these different characters, but like you look at Spider-Man 2 and or Spider-Man and all the other games I'm saying about that as well. um it's nice to see that Marvel took another step or another approach
Yeah.
because like they worked with Insomniac Games, which a great studio. Like they proved themselves to be what they are, and that's why when they made Spider-Man, you're like, holy shit! Like this is the kind of games we need to be doing. And so when Warner Brothers, was doing it with Rocksteady and a few of the others that they were doing it with at the time, like, yeah, don't get me wrong, it's great. I mean, it was a great concept, great things, but they haven't made a game like that at least in a while for superheroes wise.
No, but
I know
I
of.
mean, I can say for one thing, I think, and this is just my opinion, and you can argue with me, but I think the Batman Arkham series is much better than Spider-Man series. I mean,
I mean, I guess it depends on which way you look at it.
I think if you're talking,
If we're talking fighting mechanics, I will give Arkham, like the whole series, like a much better.
I think as a whole, if you're looking at overall, the engagement of it being a superhero simulator and your involvement of I am this character, the things that you can do in the game, the Batman Arkham series, hands down, is the one that wins because it's not just the combat, but it's the tech, it's the open world, being able to hide in the shadows and like you're hanging on these like gargoyle things and being able to just swoop down and take out enemies and
I mean, and that's why I'm saying like there are certain things that Spider-Man does that I can say that like it's like for me it's a toss up because yes, there are things about like the Arkham series like as a whole that I'm like absolutely like what you're saying absolutely I agree with and I understand that some of the hardest I will say some of the hardest things to collect in at least out of both of those games is the goddamn trophies that you get
Yes.
from the Riddler, because I only can remember collecting a few. I didn't actually go through the whole damn game and collect it. I never did that because I was like, some of it I was like, how the fuck do you do this? Like, and some of it was hard. Like you had to really like think about it.
And that's really like, I mean, that's kind of the brilliance of the game itself, because it's when they say detective mode, that's really what it is. Like
You really have to think.
there are moments in the game where it's literally detective mode. Like there, you know, in Arkham Knight, which is the one that I actually have downloaded on my PS5.
Mm.
I've had it since my PS4,
Right.
but there's, you know, you have tools where, and there's a certain mission in the game where you are investigating dead bodies. They were left behind by, you know, one of the villains that are, you know, in the game.
Yeah.
And you have a tool that literally gives you a view of the outside, and then you can scan into the muscular structure. You zoom in, it gives you the bone structure. So like the tool gives you 3 different views inside the bodies that you can scan and look for clues inside these bodies. And
Well,
it's like you don't have, I don't know of any other game where you literally have tools to do. I mean, you don't have a tool to break through a fucking fence, but you have tools for everything else.
Right.
You have a tool that can, if you want to get to another building across the street, you have a tool that can literally just zoom you via wire all across the street to another building. You have explosive gel. You have a batarang with a damn camera on it that when you throw it, your camera goes to the batarang and you can control this thing.
Oh, I remember it. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. The amount of tech that you have in the game is just crazy. And this is where like the game is so deep, and each game like Arkham Asylum, Arkham City, Arkham Knight, all of these games just get deeper and deeper with the tech that you get.
Oh, and also like when you look at the story as a whole, like I mean, it gets, especially the Joker, like it just gets deeper with him, and you see all that, the transition of every
Yeah.
game, but like it's even crazy. Like you start to look at certain characters. So I'm looking at like Commissioner Gordon, like you see his progression as well, and like you see certain things, and it's like, and hell, actually, you kind of just see Batman progress, at first, and so like I think it was it Arkham. I think it was Arkham Knight, right? Was that the one where it kind of like goes back in time, like he's kind of a younger version of himself, and then like it's
Well, I know Arkham Knight starts with, I haven't I
It's
played
been
it
a while
I
since
played
I
it a
played
long time, but I just started playing it. But I know it starts with you burning the Joker in like a furnace. So I know the Joker is already dead, but the Joker is supposed to be like you.
right, because I think okay, then I think it's with the Robin, because I think because there's only one game that Robin actually shows up, and it's
Yes, that's yeah.
yeah, I think that's the same one. Yeah. So, I mean, and I think that's kind of the one that it's weird, but it's like it like goes back in the past, like in the beginning. It's kind of like he goes back to his original self when he started off as like as an origin in a sense. But anyways, no, like I just know like the games itself. I mean, yes, I agree with you that the open world concepts, the fighting dynamics, the the detective mode. There's certain things about it.
And the
that, yes,
voice work is, I mean, the
Well, Kevin
original
Conroy.
the
Kevin
original
Conroy
Batman
definitely-
voice. I mean, even the Joker and the other characters, like you're looking at the Penguin and the Riddler. I mean,
I mean, they're fantastic.
the characterizations of all the characters are
Pretty sure-
just,
don't you see Bane too at some point?
I believe so.
I think Bane and a few others. I think Poison Ivy.
Poison
and
Ivy.
Solomon Grundy. And,
I mean, Poison Ivy barely is wearing anything in all these games.
well, yeah, that's true. Well,
Like-
actually, I don't even. Do you? Well, no, Harley's in there, right? I think Harley. at some
Harley
point.
is in there. I think in the first few games. Yes.
Yeah, and I think she's wearing her original, right? Like the kind of like the with the pointy, or not the pointy, the you know what I'm talking about,
Yes.
like the original. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I was trying to remember that because I think. Because I mean, they go. I mean, it's so weird. I think it's in the first game, like Asylum. Like, I think at one point you can start to like look at like collecting like the different characters, like Calendar Man and like Victor Zaz and like all the random ones that you don't normally see all
Yeah,
the
I
time.
mean,
They, like show you like
Mr.
pictures
Freeze
of,
is in. I mean, like
yeah.
I mean, all the Batman villains are usually in there. I mean, Arkham Knight like has. I mean, there's a list of them that are in there, and
Well, so I mean, so like both of us kind of talking about this. Like I understand that when you look at Marvel and you look at DC, yes, DC came out first, well before Marvel did, at least for a little bit. Um, but it's weird because you're also kind of putting up two icons, right? You're looking at Spider-Man, and you're looking at Batman. It's in my opinion, this is just me, not you, man. It's very hard to decide certain things because like yes, I agree that Batman for a lot of for at least intents and purposes, like it it created an atmosphere. It basically made the standard for a lot of the superhero games moving forward. It definitely did, especially like this kind of game. um Spider-Man in the opposite sense, it kind of also given you just kind of like a different view of things. So like looking back at the 2004, looking back at like some of the other stuff, like and even some of the newer stuff, like me personally, like some of that the newer Spider-Mans, like they're fucking amazing. Like they're just at that same level. To me, maybe not quite as like let's say Batman, but they're up there. I mean, they're not. It's not. They're basically almost neck and neck in my opinion because, like I said, you look at Batman and you look at how iconic it is, and especially the games. They're probably never going to make another set of Arkham series games. I can tell you
no,
that.
I mean, I think if they did anything, they probably would have to remaster.
Well, and that would be the only thing they really could do. I don't think they could really add another game because they've already built those characters. They've already done all that. I mean, there's
Which
no
would
point
still,
of
I mean,
redoing
which would still be amazing. But I do think, I mean, with Spider-Man being, they obviously have Miles Morales and, Spider-Man 2,
I
which
mean,
came out in 2023. But Arkham series, those games came out. I mean, there's Asylum, there's City, there's Night, and there's Origin. So there's 4 games,
right.
and they came out a while ago. So there's nothing that's like brand new. But
Well, no, I mean, I guess the only one that I could say that kind of, well, it's not really a part of the story, but I guess it kind of like maybe you could call it a spin-off or whatever is the Arkham Knights, like the newer game or
yeah, and
whatever.
that, I
Or
mean,
Gotham Knights, sorry, not Arkham Knights, Gotham
yeah,
Knights.
I mean, Gotham Knights isn't really.
No, and I know because like I said, I've only played a little bit of that too, and I haven't really like dived into it. I mean, I had the game, or I still have the game, and I was like, maybe I really should give it a shot at some point. But like, what I really want to, honestly, what I really want to do, man, at some point, like, is now you got me interested in like going back because I don't know if PlayStation has like the Gotham or not the Gotham, like the Arkham Knight, or not, what I mean is like the series of games like on like PS Plus or
I
on the
didn't. I
store.
didn't see. I think that Asylum and City are in a bundle.
Okay, because I didn't
But
know if they had.
I definitely know Night is a game on its own because I have it. Like I've been
Right, but, like,
I've been
having-
playing it, so I know
I
it's
was
there.
gonna say like Origins too, and like getting that like because me, I would personally want to go back and replay those games, especially
Yeah.
Asylum, like to go back and like really get back into it.
I just
Uh,
I really prefer Batman over the Spider-Man ones only because of how deep that the games go and how much there is to do. I mean, just with the tech, the combat, the open world. I mean, there's just so much that you're able to do, and it's not just like you're web swinging and then you do a mission and there's combat. No, like you go full detective mode. You're searching. You're looking for people. You have to hide yourself. You have to be silent. You have to take out enemies. Like there's almost um, like a Metal Gear kind of idea where you have to be silent and you have to be strategic on. I have to take out certain enemies with guns in a certain way because I can't just punch them. You know what I mean?
because they're gonna kill me, right?
You have to go under the grates and like take them out certain ways, and you can tie them up on things, and
I mean,
you just have to be strategic with things.
like I do understand that, and I know with Spider-Man, yes, there is that. I'm not saying you have to go underneath grades and shit. I mean, because like that yes, in Spider-Man, it's almost like they kind of copied it a little bit from Batman in the sense of like the sneaking around thing too, because you look at that and you look at those same mechanics.
Yeah,
they're
but
similar.
I mean, I think with a lot of those games, it was more based on the powers that Spider-Man had. So it was more of like, the web shooting and the powers that he had.
Right, but what I'm saying is though is that like you look at the mechanics of what they were doing in at least in the first Spider-Man and Miles Morales, things like that. It's very similar to Arkham, Asylum and all that stuff because there are certain things that you can do that are very similar to what again in Batman and a lot of
I
those
can see
games.
that. I mean, with having to crawl like in the shadows and
Right,
yes,
so like I said, there's definitely some similarities, and like I said, they have their own ways. I'm not like I said, I'm not disagreeing. I'm just saying at the same time,
I think they both
it's
have their
hard to
benefits
do.
and
Yeah, and it's like I said, there's some things like apparently like again, you can't blow up a fucking chain link fence, but God forbid you could do everything else, but whatever.
So
You
yeah,
know,
briefly just talk about Injustice. I mean,
I mean, I think
I do love the Mortal Kombat style games, but
I've
I've gotten out of kind of the fighting games as of
I
late.
well, you know me. I do like those games. It just I think when you look at the Injustice and Justice 2 and then like, you looked at the Mortal Kombat, series as a whole, especially the kind of the newer ones, you know, the the people that did Another Realm, they did honestly they did a fantastic job. As in like the characters, the
Oh yeah, I
customization,
mean the
that kind
game
of
is
stuff.
awesome. Yeah.
No, so like Injustice, was a great concept. I mean, because technically in the comics, it's like, yeah, the whole point of it is like you see that, Batman kills Joker and it turns into this like event where basically all the superheroes kind of like turn again evil, besides like Batman and a few others. But like, you look at it and I honestly like those two games personally, um, it shows you like a lot of different things. Like it's not your typical like, okay, well, it's the Justice League, and it's it's the villain. What was the League of Doom? You know what I mean? Like it's not just like, okay, guys, we're gonna go fight them. No, no, no. We're gonna show you the opposite of that, and we're gonna show you literally what heroes will turn into villains, and then so on and so forth. So I mean, the story to me, like, I understand. I understand we're gonna talk about like cinematics and stuff, but like honestly, though, as a fighting game and in like this and in Mortal Kombat, yes, I understand what you're looking at, man. Um, I get it. The point is like me personally, I think they're great. Again, if you like fighting games and if you like doing that, but at the same time, I think story, cinematics, the customization of characters, things like that, I think it did it. I think it did justice for some of it. And I get it. You may not agree with that, and I get the
No, I
whole
mean I do. Like I said, I mean I do love like Mortal Kombat, and I do like these games. I'm not saying that I don't like Injustice or Injustice 2. I've just kind of gotten out of kind of the joy of playing fighting games, to be honest. But
I get it.
obviously it's like Mortal Kombat, but DC. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's very much the same thing. It's got solid stories. The god tier combos. I mean, what else could you want? I mean, Superman going evil.
Right,
It's
like I
like
said, it's for what it is. It's good, but I get it. If you're not into fighting games, then I get it. Then this
yeah.
is not the one for you. But I think if you look at it as a whole,
It-
it does its job. I think it
if
does.
you
A good
if you're
job.
into fighting games, I mean, Injustice and Injustice 2 are. I mean, obviously, Injustice 2 is an upgrade, but from Injustice, but they're. You can say what you want, but I mean, it's a little bit of an upgrade. But I mean,
No, I wasn't going to say anything. Actually, what I wanted to do was talk about the next thing because honestly, Infamous, I fucking love that game.
I love both of these.
I love both of them. Honestly, they were
I love
great.
the shit out of both of these.
No, I was pissed that they never made a third one.
Oh, I mean these.
These should have made at least 3 or 4 of
Oh,
them
yeah.
because they should have made a
So
whole
these
series out
ones
of
you
this.
play as a character named Cole McGrath. He's a bike messenger.
Fucking awesome.
Yeah, turned lightning god after a mysterious explosion. But this one had a morality system which is very popular back in this time. I
Well,
mean,
this
a
was
lot
like
a lot of games.
late- This was like late 2000s, I would say.
A
Yeah.
lot of games at this time had this morality system. This isn't the first time a morality system existed in a game, but this game had this morality system that allowed you to be a hero or really just a menace. And you could, I mean, parkour was parkour. Parkour and electric powers. I mean, come on. Oh, an open world.
Oh, it was.
Oh, dude,
amazing. It was fucking amazing.
but it was
Especially the second game though.
yes. So it had really, really great storytelling, comic book style cutscenes, and then Infamous 2. Again, your Cole McGrath, electricity-based superhuman facing a world-ending threat called the Beast. set in New Orleans. It was
I think
new. It was open world, new race.
so. Before you go any further, I think the first game, I think was it based in New York or something like that, or something
I
like
want
that.
to say it was like somewhere in New York.
Somewhere in
yeah.
New York, and then like once he went to New Orleans for whatever fucking reason, it like changed the
Oh,
game
yeah.
itself.
So you had better traversal of the city itself in this open world. You actually had more powers. There was fire or ice, and then the morality system that actually changed the story and your abilities. So it introduced an amp melee weapon and let players create and share missions. So if you think like the vibe of these games were like X-Men powers with Fallout style choices, and this game had
And a better
better beard, yeah. But
Um,
yeah, Infamous and Infamous 2, these I played the shit out of these games,
Same,
bro.
same right here. I can agree with you on that one. So what's funny is like when they decided to, technically they did make a spinoff. It was called Infamous Second Son.
Yes, and I played that one too.
I also did, and then
That was a chick.
No, it wasn't. It was a dude.
Was it a dude? I thought it was a chick.
Yeah, see, so no, that was actually a DLC to that game. That wasn't the same game. It was actually a dude. I think it was based in Portland, Oregon, I think is where it was originally. Because you could see the cover.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's like that was like a DLC thing on inside of that game that you could play. That wasn't the chick though. She was like a add-on or something like that. But yeah, it was a dude. But like he was like that game was fine too, and it was different in the sense because like he kind of had similar powers to what he had, but it was like a lot of it was graffiti and like you're doing parkour, but I mean it just had a different vibe to it. It wasn't kind of the same as Infamous 1 and 2. With Cole McGrath, it had a sense of style. It was one of those games where you play it and you're like, this is different on so many levels. But
I was thinking First Light.
Okay, yeah. So
That was Abigail Fetch Walker and her neon powers.
yes. So was that a separate game though?
It was a standalone expansion to Second Son.
Okay, that's what I thought. Okay,
Yeah.
So like Second Son was the actual game. Yes, and that makes sense.
Yeah.
So like anyways, point is like looking at like what Matt and I were just talking about. You got a game like this. This is not a game that's like on the same. People will say it's not on the same level as let's say Batman, but like honestly, it deserves its own kind of like place in this kind of category because honestly, it was different. It wasn't really so like I will say one of my favorite studios.
So technically, the name of the city was Empire City.
Okay, I would say New York. I was gonna say New York, but like honestly, one of my favorite all time like video game developers are actually Sucker Punch. Sucker Punch made the shit out of this game, and they made like Ghost of Tsushima and Sly Cooper, all these other games. But like they made this game, and it was like right after I think they were stopped with like Sly Cooper and stuff, and they made this game, and I was like, oh my god! I was like, what did they do? And I saw it, I played it, and I was like, I gotta play it. I gotta keep playing it. I was like, this is
yeah, dude.
you just dive into it, and you're just like, this is amazing. Like, and you're honestly, and it's funny because once you get more powers and stuff, I just remember him like bashing the shit off the ground, and all of a sudden you just see this explosion of fucking electricity going across everywhere, and you're just like, holy fuck!
And it was just like the more you play it, and the more powerful you got, like it was like the game became just more addictive, and the more addictive the game, it was like, I just gotta keep fucking playing this.
Right.
And then the second game came out, and you're like,
oh my
let's
god,
fucking go.
Let's do it.
Go.
No, and it was like I said, they made those games, and honestly, I was a little like I said, I understand.
And you know what? ChatGPT was like, it's technically not a superhero game. I'm like, fuck you. Like,
fuck you, it's
come
not.
on.
That is a
This was
superhero
a fucking
game.
awesome game. And you know what's also an awesome game? Fucking Prototype. Have you ever played Prototype?
I will admit that actually is a game I did not play.
Oh my gosh,
I probably
dude.
should have played.
This
but I
game
did
was
not.
fucking awesome. So you actually play basically a guy named Alex Mercer, and it's the game was made by Activision,
Oh, okay.
and it's actually Barry Pepper, very popular actor. So the protagonist is Alex Mercer. He's a shapeshifter suffering from amnesia. It causes him to forget his previous life, including how he obtained his powers. So there's an outbreak of a virus called Blacklight, which has overrun Manhattan. He comes into conflict with two factions, which is the Marines and a special forces unit dedicated to combating biological warfare called Blackwatch. So there's these infected people that are infected with these blacklight virus that turns them into these violent monsters. And he's basically a shapeshifter, which is almost like he turns into this like Hulk-like venom creature. You literally probably could. I mean, it's like you can pick up tanks, just like destroy freaking everything. I mean, you take Infamous and you shapeshift into a monster. That's what you're playing. Open. It's like
right.
open world destruction. You turn your arms turn into blade, claws, shield, you name it. Like
I remember seeing, I think, clips of the game, and I never personally played it.
I mean,
no.
you can suplex tanks. I mean, it was a fucking awesome game. So it felt like you were a villain that was kind of pretending to be a good guy. And it was like, I mean, the Marines and these Blackwatch people kept just coming after you, and you're just trying to figure out like who the fuck you were. Right, like, and you're just playing this game, and it was like there was two games. There was Prototype, and I believe there was a second one. So it's basically you're just basically this bioweapon. You're infected with this virus. You're trying to figure it out, but like all these people are coming after you, and you are actually the good guy, but you're just kind of like this like destruction machine. But it was a fucking awesome game. Like, hands down. I mean, I don't think it was as good as some of the others, but I mean, when you're talking, you want to just sit down and play a game where you're just destroying the shit out of things.
Pick up that game, apparently, is what Matt's saying.
This was the one. I mean, it was for PS3 and Xbox 360, but
I mean, maybe if they have it on PlayStation Plus, and I was like, you know what, maybe fuck it, let's just play something nostalgic and kind of like go back and
now is when we get into the we get into the less exciting stuff.
This is the one. Hold on, I'm going to mention this one. So this is the one that Matt and I. Yes,
I mean, we really didn't talk about Ultimate Alliance that much, but
well, let me put it this way. We'll actually let's do that real quick. So Ultimate Alliance, though, it's kind of weird because again, when you're looking at a game like this, you got Ultimate Alliance, Ultimate Alliance 2. I think they came out with a third one. I only remember really the two of them. I'm pretty sure they came out with a third one, but the first two honestly are probably the better from what I can remember. A lot of it though, I don't know if you remember like storyline wise, I think Ultimate Alliance 2 kind of was like, it was like the in between of like Civil War. Like if you were to look at like MCU, because like I think at one point you have to decide if you're pro or anti-registration.
Yeah, so I mean the plot for at least the first one, it was Dr. Doom and the Masters of Evil launching an attack on S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah.
And then Nick Fury sends out a distress call to all available superheroes for assistance. That's when Captain America, I mean, you start with these four, which is Captain America, Spider-Man, Thor, and Wolverine.
That's what I was going to say, because I think it was Wolverine.
You actually start with those, and then you have to save this helicarrier from basically Scorpion, Bullseye, Winter Soldier, Radioactive Man, and Fin Fang Foom.
Oh, yes. Now, hold on. Before we go any further, if nobody knows who Fin Fang Foom is, think of a giant flying dragon who can talk. And it's green, and he's green.
This game had fucking everybody. I mean,
everybody under the sun. You had no idea.
You're talking
who the
like
fuck they
you're
were.
receiving a message from Dum Dum Dugan.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
You have to defeat MODOK, Crimson Dynamo, Mysterio. You have AIM agents.
I'm gonna say this.
I mean, you mentioned a Marvel character.
That's what I was gonna say.
Fucking game.
Well, I'm saying is if you, because I actually. Well, I know Matt had it. I don't remember who.
I think the Mandarin is in this fucking game.
No, I know. Hold on. So I don't remember which one of us had it. I think it was the Marvel Encyclopedia. I'm pretty sure one of us had it. But anyways, Yeah, so like I remember, I thought I had one a long time ago. Not the point, but like, yes, what Matt's saying is like if you can think of a Marvel character for the most part, especially in the first game, like they were gonna show up at some point. And I know in the second game, like I said, I'm pretty sure that was more about the pro versus the anti-registration piece to that, where it's like the Civil War
So
basically.
yeah, the second one follows the events of Civil War storyline. Explosion in Stamford, Connecticut causes by Nitro causes a superhero registration act.
Right.
The players choose between the pro side, headed by Iron Man, or the anti-registration.
And you actually have to pick.
Yes.
And-
And then there was a third.
I do remember. I remember some of the third, but it wasn't.
It was Alternate Alliance 3, The Black Order was announced at the Game Awards.
Oh, it was the newer one. This is a newer one, but anyways, yeah.
That was 2018. It was published by Nintendo for Nintendo Switch.
yes.
So the game is a reboot of the series. So it's
yeah.
set in a different continuity from the first two games. It involves a team of heroes to prevent Thanos and the Black Order from collecting the Infinity Stones. So there you go.
I played I was gonna say the third one I did play on Nintendo. It's similar, I guess, but it wasn't the same. And honestly,
Yeah, no, the first I played the first
two.
shit out of the first two, bro. Like,
oh yeah, no, I mean, but again, so like this is kind of like if you take again, we're talking like Diablo in a sense, like in the sense of like you're looking down on the character and you're fighting, you're doing your thing. It's that same style, and
yeah, I mean, you had a team of 4 characters. I mean, you had a large pool of heroes and villains.
right.
They could be interchangeable. You could swap during the gameplay. I mean, it was basically your dungeon crawl perspective. Like, I mean, there's a ton of these types of games. You're looking from the top down, but
I mean, but I guess it was different because like, like some of I remember the character combinations, right? Because like if you had like
yes,
the Fantastic Four.
in the game they were known as fusion. So you had a unique fusion with other characters, like Captain America using his shield to reflect Storm's lightning bolts was one of them. So
right.
but you had the ability to level up characters to learn, earn new abilities, new powers. So yeah, I mean, like I said, I've played the shit out of these games, and the amount of characters that were just in these games were just nuts.
And especially you would collect them by usually like when you're doing a mission, like sometimes they'd show up at the end. They're like, oh, hey, look. And then like they show up in your characters that you can pick from. And so like, at first, like you were saying, like Captain America, Spider-Man, Wolverine, Thor, at some point, like down the road, you're like, oh, hey, look, it's Iron Man. Oh, hey, look, I guess him, he's on my team.
I love the flying ones. That I think the flying ones in the game were always kind of my favorite. So like Iron Man, like some of those like
Storm
were my favorite because you could fly above everybody, and the the other characters kind of couldn't reach you, I guess.
The only one that I probably would say like ground type, if you think about it, like if anything, it was probably like Hulk. I'd probably like choose him on my team just because
Hulk.
The amount of damage that dude could.
I definitely like Hulk, and I like a lot of the characters that could do a lot of area of effect.
Oh yeah.
Like if you picked Wolverine, he was melee based, and he had just a lot more in your face. So he was one that always got like.
You usually die first.
He always died first, especially on enemies. So a lot of the enemies were these huge fucking things. And if you had Wolverine on your team, he always had to go right up towards the enemy.
Right.
So you had to pick somebody who had a ranged ability. So you had to pick somebody who could, attack from a range or had, that kind of ability. But the game was just awesome.
No, and like I said, I think, a lot of people will say one thing about it versus another. For those style of games, I mean, I'm not going to lie, Matt, if they could remake those games or even like, instead of making that Ultimate Alliance 3 bullshit.
It sucks because they actually took them off of the...
Yeah, they took them. I know, and I was pissed because you told me that a while back, and I was like, fuck. And I was like, I wish I would have grabbed them before they left because at least then you would have had a copy no matter what.
Yeah, I forgot the particular reason I told you, but they actually removed them.
Yeah, you said it was but it was a while back. It wasn't recent.
No, it wasn't recent. They removed them for particular reasons off of the Play stores for all of the platforms. For a particular reason, I think it was because like maybe I think it was like the license for the
games or whatever.
The games expired and they haven't like renewed them or something. So you really, if you end up finding one, they're literally about like $900 to $1,000 because they're that rare.
Yeah, because you cannot find them. And I'm like, for all the things like in our past, like there are so many things that I do regret like ever getting rid of. This is one of those times where you're like, shit, I really wish.
And the thing is, they did a remastered bundle.
I know, and you told me that, and I was like, fuck, I didn't know that.
Like both 1 and 2 are in a bundle in one disc.
And I was like, dude, I would have fucking picked that up no matter what.
I would have picked the shit up, and I would have been playing the shit out of it.
But again, here we are. We're like, fuck, man, this sucks.
And I missed it, And now if you look it up, like on eBay or something, they're like $900, $1,000.
Like fuck that shit.
No, I ain't buying that shit. All right, so some of the worst ones. We're gonna get right into the first one because, look,
might as well talk about it since we were just talking about Ultimate Alliance.
One of the memes that we're gonna be sharing this week, and I love Spaceballs. And it's going to be one of those really funny memes. You're going to have to check it out on Facebook if you want to see it. But I'm going to explain what this meme looks like because it's really, when you look at the characters, they're really like off-brand stunt doubles. And I saw this meme and I almost died laughing because there's a scene in Spaceballs where, the characters in Spaceballs, like they're running away from, the people on Planet Spaceball because they, they're doing whatever they're doing, and they jump through this door that's almost closing, and this guy, that's one of the sergeants, or he's in charge. He goes through this entire monologue, and he turns around, and the characters that are standing in front of him. It's supposed to be Lone Star and Barf and Dot Matrix. It's supposed to be them.
Right.
And he turns around and he's like, "You idiots, you've captured their stunt doubles." And that's the exact scene is him. And it says that in the text on the top picture. And on the bottom picture, it's the characters in the Marvel Avengers. Because when I started playing this game, I was like, who the fuck are these people? Because you're looking at these guys and you're like, they don't look like the comic book versions. They don't look like the movie versions. Who the fuck is this guy that playing Captain America? Because
I was going to say, it's the model. We're talking about like whoever they modeled it after a little bit. Because I agree with you. There are certain people like when you look at Tony Stark and you look at Steve Rogers and you look at Bruce Banner and Black Widow and whoever, like some of them like have certain characteristics that, yes, I can see. But then at the same time, you're like, wait a minute. No, that doesn't make any sense. Like this, why are you showing me this like off-brand version of McDonald's or some stupid shit like that?
It's like you went to a weird stunt double warehouse in Ohio, and you were like, you and we need a black guy, so you and like
and then we need this guy, you
and you, and we need a woman, so. You have red hair, so you and
fuck it, why not? Just come on down.
Come on down. We'll take all of you. But that's exactly like you're playing this game and you're like, what the fuck? Who are these people?
I mean, and so I will admit though, like, sure, the characters, whatever. But I would say some of the like the costumes though, I would say that they're wearing are pretty as I guess as close as you can get to what
the costumes. I mean, the costume was good, and yes, when you first play the game. The gameplay is good. When you're playing the story missions for the characters, the gameplay is fine. It's when you finish said gameplay for each of the characters. Even when you get to the DLC, when you're doing Black Panther, when you're doing Spider-Man,
I didn't even do any of that shit.
When you're playing the actual story mode of all those characters, you're absolutely 100% good. Because you have shit to do. And that's not the problem. That is not the problem. I mean,
the shit after.
Yes, the characters look like stunt doubles. They look like weird people that they just hired to do the gig. Sure. The voice work sucks. Sure. Okay? Square Enix really fucking sucked at doing this game. Why? Because they have literal like studios that are only dedicated to their 72 Final Fantasy versions that all suck. That is
Wow. Alrighty, man. Tell me all about those Final Fantasy
but
shit.
that is legit. They have dedicated studios to just doing Final Fantasy. That's it. So when they come up with games like Marvel Avengers, they do not have the bandwidth to create content for it. So this is where you have a game where beyond the story mode, they did not create anything for. So when you get past the story modes, you have repetitive missions because that's all there was. The live service was just these missions that
Oh no, it was horrendous.
all repeated. And no matter where you went to in the map, it was literally just the same mission, even though it was renamed a different thing. You literally just did the same thing, and the game just became.
It became annoying.
How do I level up my character? Basically, that was like I have the Hulk, I'm going to level him up. I have Captain America, I'm going to level him up, and that's all it became. Is I'm leveling up my characters. And that was the grind. It was just grinding my characters. I'm leveling up my character. I'm leveling them up. I'm leveling them up. Hey, what are you playing? Oh, I'm leveling up my Avenger characters. That's all I'm doing.
So I will say this, right? So like when you and I were playing it, I mean, like in the beginning, yes, it absolutely was fine. It was great, whatever, to a degree. And then you're right. I stopped playing it after a while because yes, it was the repetitive shit. I will say if there was one studio that could have done something about it, I think Insomniac or something like that would have 10 times would have done something with that game. And I mean, the game could have been a hell of a lot better. I mean, it could have been really expansive in a lot of different ways, but they chose not to do that. They fucked up everything else, like you said.
They shut it down 2 years ago.
I know they did, but what I'm saying is the game came out in 2020. I know that, right? I'm pretty sure. I think it was 2020 is what I think it said. So yeah, it came out 5 years ago, technically. I remember you and I playing it. We played it for a little while. We did whatever, but then I mean, after the game itself, I didn't play.
3 fucking years, and then they shut down the server, so you can't even play the game.
Yeah, because again, you can't do anything, and so you're right, and so hence why I'm saying you're sitting there like, okay, so why did you just shut everything the fuck down? And clearly, you don't want this game to be around anymore. Because who cares?
Because 90% of their focus is Final Fantasy.
Right.
Even though they have 7 fucking different versions of Final Fantasy that all suck. And people tend to like just buy them anyways. And you come up with a game that you can actually create real content for.
Yeah. You could have done a lot more with this game. And they did not seize that opportunity whatsoever.
No.
And they made it harder now. And so that's why I mean, if you had a studio like Rocksteady or, Insomniac or someone like that could have done that. They could have made a very inclusive game, a lot of things that you could do with it. But no, like, I mean, you know what? Here, why don't we, because I know we're going to keep going through all this shit, but this next game I did play for a little bit. I don't know if you played it. I don't think you ever did.
I did not play it because I know it sucked from the beginning.
Well, I decided to buy it at the time. And I was like, you know what? I'll give it a shot, whatever.
And this was like Rocksteady's first game since the Arkham series.
Right. And so this is where I was like, okay, maybe we'll see. So this is Suicide Squad killed the Justice League. So this is technically based off of Injustice in some ways. Like some of the storyline of Injustice is basically based off this. Now, at first, when I saw the game, I was like, oh, maybe this will be, kind of like, it'll be interesting to see this. So like you play as 4 different players, right? Or 4 different people. You play as was it King Shark, Harley Quinn, Deadshot, and Captain Boomerang. So they all have their unique powers. They it's interesting in some ways, what you're doing. I mean, yes, they have it's open world. It's kind of like your similar things to
but apparently everybody shoots guns, even King Shark.
Not that I remember. I think so really it's Deadshot, Harley Quinn, Captain Boomerang. I think I don't remember if he shoots guns. I think it's something else. King Shark doesn't do that. I think he's kind of one of the only ones that.
The clip that I saw, you was shooting a gun, and I was like,
"Oh, maybe I don't remember
what the fuck is he doing."
I can't remember off the top of my head, but it was supposed to be like a fun parody game in a lot of different ways. So like, yeah, I mean, there were certain things that I do remember.
I mean, I saw various clips, and I was like, I don't know.
Again, you didn't play it. I mean,
I didn't actually play it, but I mean, I saw clips, and that was enough for me to be like,
Right.
Yeah.
So what I'm telling you is like, yes, there were certain things about it. Yes, I do understand why people will say that. I know that when I played it at first, it was like, okay, yeah, I could see certain things being the way that they are, but like, it was weird because again, you want to talk about stunt doubles. Um, yeah, like some of them didn't look quite what I would think, and it was like, okay, whatever. If that's just kind of like what you're doing. I mean, Harley Quinn was Harley Quinn, sure. Deadshot, yeah, that's I would say like Will Smith's version of Deadshot and like the, just the Suicide Squad in that sense. A few others, whatever. But like me personally playing it, I was like, hey, it wasn't the same hype, So like it's like certain things about it, sure, it was fine, like some of the mechanics, but honestly, it was not what Rocksteady is known for. Like they really didn't do anywhere near the level of what they did before. Like this game, yeah, there's a reason why I mean, it's still on. I mean, people apparently it's dropped a lot of numbers and stuff like that, but like there's not a lot of people playing this game, and this came out literally a year ago, if I'm not mistaken, or ish.
Yeah.
And it's not as good, and so like it's sad when you get a studio that has been known to be a really great studio for a very good series of games, and then you get a game like this.
Yeah,
And
I
you're
don't
like,
know.
what
I
the
mean,
fuck
I
are you
think
doing?
it's one of those things like when you have, when the missions are repetitive and it just feels like it's really trying too hard. The stories are just trying, not just like the tone of the stories are just trying way too hard. I think you can just tell like it's just way too much. And I think that
Yeah.
that's where you're playing this game and it's just like, man, this really just sucks. Like it's an okay game, but like it's definitely not something like I want to finish.
No, and that was my issue. Is like a lot of those games, especially like this one. Um, yeah, I bought it at the time, and I think I just was like, sure, whatever. And the problem was it wasn't just like this game. There was a couple other games I did the same thing with, but like, you think to yourself like, fuck, this is why I wish some ways or sometimes like I would just go to GameStop and just buy the game if I was like, you know what, I'm going to return it and then get hopefully some of my money back. When you buy it, this is why I said, online shit, when you buy it off the store, once you fucking buy it, it's yours forever,
Oh
buddy.
yeah.
And the only way you can get rid of it is if you hide that shit. And you're like, well, why now do I want to hide it when I bought the fucking game?
Yeah.
So it's one of those things. Like I said, it's hard when you want to get rid of this shit, and yeah, you can't because now you own it and it's forever yours, whether you like it or not. Again, I guess basically moving forward from this game because honestly, it's probably not even worth mentioning it any further than what we've done.
No. So a lot of these next games, I don't think really any of us played. To be honest, I mean, I've actually watched clips of a lot of these games just to prepare myself for some of these. But I can comment on Superman 64 quite a bit because I've watched actually quite a bit of clips on this.
I honestly, I've never played it, but I can already tell you that I think I have seen a clip or two on this, and no, it's like, what am I
This
watching?
is actually, I mean, it's a meme for a reason, and it's really just one of those games that came out, and it's Superman 64. That's really what we're talking about. It came out for the N64. One, if you tried to play an N64 today,
Oh my god!
you would grab the controller and you would play. You would go, "How the fuck am I supposed to play use this controller?" Anyways, but the controls were really just unplayable. There was just fog everywhere, and then somehow you just had to fly through rings almost the entire game. But there was a particular part of the game where it would just like it would just say car, and you have to really just question yourself, going, "What car? What am I supposed to do with the car? Do I pick up the car? Do I smash the car? Do I stop the car? Do I follow the car? Like, what am I supposed to do with this car?" Like, it just was non-specific. So, like, if you try to stop the car, guess what? It resets you. If you damage the car, guess what? It resets you. So you're like, oh, what the fuck do I do with this car? Like, it doesn't tell you. So,
I guess you just watch the car.
so like you really just it doesn't tell you what you need to do. So like it just was a terrible game. And then if you look at the graphics, I mean, granted, you're talking N64. Okay.
I mean, it's slightly better than some of the other previous consoles at the time.
So
but
yeah, I mean, it's going to be blocky. It's going to be
choppy.
It's going to be pixelated. But that's what N64 was. I mean, look at GoldenEye.
Oh yeah,
GoldenEye, I mean, GoldenEye was the gold standard for N64.
well, hold on, and then you got Doom.
Well, I mean, Doom was Doom, but GoldenEye was, when you're talking N64, GoldenEye is the first game that you think of with the N64.
Well, yes, you are right.
But Superman 64 is probably the last game that you think of. But like the graphics wise, you're looking at the game and it was like, I mean, it's completely just an unplayable game. And it doesn't really get any better with the rest of these. I mean, granted, they're not N64. A lot of these are, PS2, GameCube, Xbox, PS2. There's some from Xbox 360, but you're talking Spider-Man, friend or foe. If basically it's like a mobile game on a console. like
what kind of shit is this?
I mean, it was bad voice acting. The
I don't
gameplay
even
was
remember that
terrible. Watching the gameplay was awful. Like,
I mean, I'm just kind of jumping ahead here, but like even trying to look at the Iron Man movie, like the game itself, and that's on a the PS2, PS3, and then Xbox 360 as well.
yeah,
And you're telling me like you would think that might be a little bit better of a game, but
that one was the one that was, I actually said it in the intro. If you go all the way back to the intro, was Iron Man shouldn't fly like a forklift with a head cold. That was what I was talking about, because Tony in that game feels like he's a really slow drone. Like the flight controls were terrible. And when he is flying, it's like, are we moving? are we not
What are we
moving?
doing?
Like, what are we doing here? I mean, the missions were so repetitive. Like, they're not good games. We're talking Iron Man Battle for Atlantis. That was GameCube and Xbox. You had underwater combat. Think about that.
oh yeah, it should have been more fun, more interactive, more everything.
Underwater combat.
Right. I'm just saying in general, that's what it should have been, but it wasn't.
Think about how you move underwater.
Oh yeah, you're slow as shit. Now, depending again, if we're talking about Aquaman and things like that, again, he's going to go a little bit quicker in some ways. I get if we're talking about dynamics, I understand. And if
GameCube
it's
and
just-
Xbox, though, I mean, you're talking
not gonna get
ugly, clunky game mechanics.
right? I'm saying like if we were to do it underwater, you and I, like who, like that's not going to be. We're going to be too fucking
No,
slow.
but I
Like,
mean,
for him, it should be a lot quicker.
even you would think he would be quicker, but in the game, it was still clunky and ugly and,
well, yeah, and again,
and slow as shit. So you're doing these combats, and it's like, it's like, come on,
you hit me in the head. No.
come on. You hit me, dang. Like,
Don't get me started on that. And then of course Fantastic Four.
well, that's a 2005 tie-in. So I mean, you can just
Might as well just say basically the same thing as Iron Man. Be like, hey, guess what? Zero Fantastic.
yeah. Blend is wet toast. I mean, I fucking hate wet bread, but I mean
That's how bad
I think
it is,
everybody
motherfucker.
hates wet bread, but I mean the graphics were weak, the combat was generic, and that's for PS2 and Xbox. I mean, Fantastic Four, the 2005 movie sucked anyways. So I mean, I'm assuming the game would not be great anyways. But
No, and I mean, now I was gonna say this, guys. I mean, we talked a lot about different, superhero video games in general. I mean, if there's other games that you maybe think we should talk about, like at some point down the road, sure. I know these are just some things, especially like the kind of like the major titles. Some of them, of course. I know there's other games. I know there's other shit out there, but I mean, at the same time, we're trying to think of the more relevant.
yeah,
I
I mean,
as close as you can get.
there's so many games out there, and I think these are the kind of the main ones that we wanted to touch on. I mean, what classifies as a superhero game? You know, we were kind of looking at obviously, you know, more Marvel and DC based. I mean, some of these like Prototype and Infamous,
I mean, if, as ChatGPT said, it was like, oh no, Infamous is not even close to being a superhero
they have
game.
superpowers. So we wanted to include them, even though, you know, ChatGPT was like, well, they're not superhero, you know, they're not superheroes.
And you're like, fuck you.
Well,
they're not.
obviously they're not, but they have superpowers. So yes, we wanted to include them, you know, but we, you know, whether you like them or not like them, I mean, maybe you played Infamous and you were like, well, this game kind of sucks. We don't like you because we love the game.
You know what? You're right. And then
So,
if you like
if you
fucking
didn't
Final-
like if you didn't like Infamous or Infamous 2, you can go fuck yourself.
go fuck yourself or go suck. Never mind. I'm
I'm
not going
just
to say the
kidding,
next one.
but, no, I mean some of the I mean if you know some of the ones that we liked, we really liked, you know, and some of the ones, you know, if you like Suicide Squad, good for you.
Because you're going to be the only one playing it. 'Cause I don't think anybody else playing it.
Yeah, I mean, in a couple of years when they decide to turn up the servers,
Which is probably very soon, actually, to be honest.
you're not going to be able to play it anymore, and you're going to be like, well, fuck, I just wasted that much money, and I didn't.
I know you didn't.
Ah.
I did, unfortunately. So,
But yeah, you know, you know, and I'll go with this again. Like, I think it's funny with game mechanics. You know, Batman is one of them with, you know, certain things with the explosive gel and the stupid fences. I was actually watching a video the other day because I know Death Stranding 2 just came out,
Mhm.
and that's a game the game mechanics I just don't understand. I played Death Stranding, the first one. I haven't finished the
I haven't
game.
played it.
I haven't finished the game, but for the life of me, I don't fucking understand how a person, and I know Norman Reedus is like the main character of the game, but I don't fucking understand how one person can carry that much fucking loot on his back.
Again, I don't really know.
I understand, like, when you're carrying that much stuff on your back and you're carrying it on your legs and your arms, you're falling over. I get it.
Well,
but,
and
like, I was playing the game and I had shit on my legs, on my calves, on my arms, and the shit on my back was above my fucking head. It went back like probably a foot and a half. I had so much shit. I had to like hold both triggers while I was walking, and I probably was walking like really slow, like so slow. And I kept falling over. I had to keep picking my shit up. And I'm sitting there going, there's no fucking way a human being could carry all of this shit.
No,
and then
but-
today I watched a video where like this dude was like walking around this, like he actually was walking around. I don't know what city he was walking around, but he was walking around like in public.
Yeah.
And he had like a huge backpack, like in Death Stranding, with like huge containers on his back, and he had all this stuff like attached, and he kept falling over, and people were like, "Oh, are you okay?" And he's like, he's like, "I got to get to this thing," and you know, basically he was saying like what Norman Reedus was doing in the game, and they were like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" But he just kept like picking the shit up, and he just kept going, and he just kept fucking falling over, and they're like, "Oh, do you need help carrying that shit?" He's like, "No, I have to get to the next point. Just leave me alone."
Just let me be. No, I mean, but you know what's funny though? I mean, 'cause think about it in other games, right? Don't like if you look at like certain other mechanics, especially like Assassin's Creed or whatever game, right? I mean, fucking Fallout for God's sakes. I mean, you're only allowed to carry so much shit before they say, "Hey, by the way, you can't carry any more shit." Like they tell you, you cannot carry any more shit, or you got to go put it somewhere else, or do whatever the fuck it is you got to do. In this game, it's like, I don't know, you can carry as much shit as you want. You want to fucking fall over and have a great fucking time falling over on your ass, go be my guest. It's like, how many games tell you that you could do that? I've never seen a game that could do
No,
that.
and it's, I mean, it's just absolute, the amount of shit that you can carry is absolutely like it's inhuman.
Then why would you put it in the game?
It's inhuman. And
No, I'm just saying though, like, why would you ever
and
do
I get
that?
it, like you fall over, but like I'm telling you right now, go and watch. Like I can show you a
Clearly,
video when
you might want to show me it because I'm curious now.
when we're done recording this, and we're in between recording, is we're gonna record another one after we're done this. I will show you videos. Of
Show me a
him,
video.
and you will see. Like there's so much fucking shit that he's carrying. And I'm like, there's no fucking way a human being can carry this.
I mean, the guy you know what? I give the guy credit, at least the one that's reenacting this event. Like he's at least being in character. And I mean,
Oh, I mean, it was pure comedy and it was hilarious. Because I mean, the people's reactions were like, "Oh my gosh, like you need fucking help," and he's like, "No," he's like, I gotta connect this," and they're like, "What the fuck are you talking about? You just fell on your ass."
I just gotta keep going, man.
And he's like, he's like picking up all of his gear and he's like strapping it back to his back and he's like, "No, I gotta keep going." He's like, I gotta get there," and they're like, "No, you just ate,
Great shit.
you just ate shit. Like you need medical attention, man."
Well, I gotta keep going, man. I gotta connect this to that. You're like, what the fuck are you talking about, bitch?
Oh, but yeah, I mean, it's like certain. I mean, Batman Arkham series is not like the first game that has like this weird, like I can destroy a wall, but I can't break through a fucking fence to get this area.
Well, fuck that, yeah.
Or Batman doesn't kill people, but you can fucking throw 42 batarangs that are sharpened at enemies' faces
And keep killing them.
Right, like
or better yet, when you, because I know I'm pretty sure there are certain moves where you can like, actually, doesn't he almost like crack their neck? Like, isn't there like he does that?
You can see. I mean, I don't know if it's definitely not Arkham Knight, but I think it's either Asylum or City, where there's a way that you can actually, like, when you're punching them, like you can actually see, like their bones breaking and shit, and you're like, what the hell's going on here?
Like you would think they would be dead. Well, not only that, I mean, that's almost like showing you like Mortal Kombat moves at that point, especially in this game.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just the game mechanics are so crazy in video games.
Nah, I don't know, man. I mean, we talk about this shit, and I mean, it's funny how you and I'm not saying we haven't been passionate about a lot of stuff, but like you and I, at least this time, we were just like, like we played the shit out of that game.
Yeah, we definitely did,
you know. But it's funny though, like these are the kinds of topics that I know we haven't talked about in a while, but like, when we both get into that fucking hyper ass mode, we're like, we fucking played the shit out of the game. Fuck you if we didn't play it. Like that's the kind of shit I miss though. But like, and I know some of the other stuff we're gonna be talking about now, moving forward, where, like the next 3 episodes, guys, just so you kind of aware, we're gonna be talking about AI versus Hollywood. We did a series a little while back, but basically we did one on, it was like a sci-fi TV series. You can check it out. We did basically a 3-part, kind of like we're doing now.
AI versus Hollywood. And we have a 3-part series. And I'm telling you right now, ChatGPT did a fucking bang up job on creating a movie. I'm telling you right, this is like.
I took a look at, I mean, Matt showed me some posters, some things that I was like, okay. And I thought it was originally going to be a TV show. He's like, oh, no, this is a movie. And I saw all this. I saw the characters. I saw the idea behind it. I mean, so far, and we're not even talking about this yet, but like, I saw it already, and I'm already like, okay, you can make this a fucking movie. I can see this shit happening. Like, this could be a real thing. Like, if we wanted to do
this concept is fucking phenomenal.
Now, mind you, ready? AI, not Hollywood writers that are writing this shit.
So that's the whole concept. Is it's AI versus Hollywood. Can AI make a better concept than what's coming out of Hollywood studios? Right now, movie studios right now.
I can tell you right now, like I said, so far that what we've done, especially with the sci-fi shit, I could see that right now. I could see that shit being on like, it could be ABC, could be fucking whatever streaming service you want to be. Like I could see that shit on there because that's how good it was, and especially the actors and actresses that it shows. I mean, we agreed about it.
I think.
So,
I mean, not for nothing. I mean, I think AI did a bang up job on this movie, and I think this movie, 100%. If there's a movie producer or anybody that's listening to our podcast,
I was gonna say, wants to take a look at this?
100%. This concept should be done because this is how good it is.
Right, and this is what I will say, at least to any movie producer, director, writer, whatever. If you are listening to this shit, and if you say, hey, can we you get the rights? I'm going to tell you this. Fuck getting the rights. This is what we want. We want a contract. We want to start doing this shit because if we could be consultants or we could be whatever, sign me up. Let's go. I'd fucking say, let's do it. Let's quit our jobs. We get this shit on the road. Anyways, we've been talking too much. So my point is, boys and girls, you have a good night. We're going to be doing another episode here shortly. But yes, until next time.